How's it going, Alice? You alright? Right, we've got the first few people starting to join us now. This is the third episode in our Carney's Conversations. So today we're going to be speaking to a guy called Mac who set up Bikestormz. I'll do more of an introduction once he joins. Hopefully he'll be getting involved pretty soon. For those of you new to us and to what we're doing, since the pandemic, we've started up a program called Carney's Conversations, where we're interviewing people who could be inspirational to the participants that we're working with and people who've got an interesting story. And as I said, this is our third one, and Mac is definitely someone who's got a very interesting story, as you'll find out as soon as he joins us. So if you've got any questions or anything for him, feel free to stick it in the comments, and I will try my hardest to get to those comments and those questions, although sometimes I struggle with it because I've got so much to say myself and ask him. Right, I think we've got Matt coming along soon. Just waiting for Matt to do the request, and then we'll get started. Hopefully another interesting interview. Now, last.
How you doing, George?
Yes, man. How's it going? You alright?
Yeah, I'm good, man. Can you guys hear me?
Yeah. Can hear you fine, loud and
just
clear.
reverse in 1 second.
No problem.
Good afternoon, everyone, on this beautiful day, man.
Well, thanks for joining us, Mac. Just before you joined, I was telling everyone what we're trying to do with Carney's, and with Carney's Conversations. And essentially, what we're trying to do is get on inspirational people who can help inspire some of our young people. So, obviously, I thought you'd be a good person with everything that you've done with Bikestormz, and your own story can definitely be inspirational to the guys that we're working with. So, if we can start off with just checking how did things start for you? What was your childhood like? What was your upbringing like? Role models you had, positive, negative?
For me, it started in northwest London, in Cricklewood, with my mum. That was just me and my mum, single parent home. And my mum was a hairdresser. And the part of London that we lived in, it was predominantly like Irish, but it's northwest London. So just around the corner, you got Harlesden, Cricklewood, Stonebridge, Church Road. So you're in the mix. And the school that I was going to, you was going to be in the mix with, like, the community is the community. So I'd say my upbringing was really colourful in terms of my family's really big. There's a lot of different characters in my family, so I was able to draw from different people. There were bad people in my family, and there's also good people in my family. So it really depended on how I was feeling or where I was at with life, with who I was going to decide to follow in terms of role model at the time. And so that was like, when I felt like the world was against me, then I'd probably chill with my bad family members. When I felt like I'm going to give it a go and try make something of myself, I'll try and be around the good ones. But that's me saying that I'm trying, that's optional. But sometimes when you're too bad, it isn't even an option to be around the good people in your family doing good stuff, because they don't want the bad kids around. So that was literally, there's more that I could say in terms of like crime. When I was coming up, I was raised on Harlesden High Street because my mum had a business there for 30 years. So I was there every single day. And in terms of the killings, the crimes and all that, it was always going on. It was just a little different. Like, if there was a stabbing, like, you knew who stabbed somebody. You knew who it was. Like, it was talk of the town, even if we didn't go to the same schools. But I think now it's just a little different. But when I was coming up, it was scary. When I got to, say, 13, I didn't think that I would live till 14. When I got to 14, I definitely didn't think I'd live to 15. And then when I got to 15, I was like, nah, how the hell am I really going to survive? I'm really not protected now. How the hell am I really going to survive amongst really going to the shops? Because when I was young, you go to the shops, you could get rushed as well. If you're not known or you're in the wrong area, you could get rushed, you could get beaten up, you could get stabbed, but the emphasis wasn't on it then. It was like a guy got rushed, like he got rushed and beaten, stabbed, whatever, but it wasn't like how it is today, man. So I grew up around amongst real people where I would say on the streets, it's like there was real principles, there was real morals, there was real bad boys that they were so good with animals, they were so good with little children, but on the road thing, they're a different type of kettle of fish. And a lot of my role models that was on the roads, they would always like, I was the type of guy, they would always let me have them, like be by their side, close by. So I got to see different sides of them. And I was like, as much as they're out there shooting, selling drugs and that, when you spend time and you're chilling with them and their kids or them and their family, they're totally two different people. And what drove me in life to do what I do and say no matter what I see out there that we can bring change is because I would say myself that I've been amongst some of the hardest criminals out there. And I know that most of us, we want to smile, like we want to laugh, but with how serious we take life and everything that's going on with drug deals and everything, it's harder to smile every day. And to the point you just get used not to smiling. But I look at my friends' faces today that are my age and older, and I look at them and I say, bro, you're unhappy. All the chains that we used to have around our neck, you're not happy now. And to me, that was important. So I just wanted to make sure that with my life that I had left when I got to my late 20s, that I could really give it back to the young people in a way, was teaching them that I was what you used to look up to as cool. I was that guy with the car, I was that guy, but it's not even that I've fallen off. And at the point when I changed, I thought it was important to change while my financial situation was good and not bad. So people didn't think, oh, I'm just trying a thing. Like, I used my finances that I had at the time then to improve my community. And at the time, I was hoping that, like, celebrities would get on board and, like, just do their thing. It doesn't need to be under my umbrella, but just help to make the community a better place. So I'd say Harlesden, where we got Church Road and Stonebridge, I'd say it's been hard seeing how it's developed, how Harlesden's turned, how it's been gentrified as a place as well. But it's just harder to see the children really against each other, like, and they're next door neighbours. And you guys have the same thing in South London, next door neighbours. Yeah, sorry, are you there?
Yeah, now I can hear you now.
Yeah, sorry, my phone, man. Yeah, you can look out your balcony and see your enemy. It's like, that's what I'm trying to clear, George. So that's literally that in a nutshell.
All right, so it's interesting what you're saying about some of the elders when you were younger and they'd be looked at as criminals and they were doing bad things on road, but you saw a real positive side to them as well. And I think a lot of people would like to think that either people are bad or people are good, but that's not reality. Reality is sometimes good people can do some bad things, sometimes some bad people can do some good things, and it's about finding a positive.
And I'm one of them. Like, I would say my criminal record isn't loud because I was a good criminal. Like, you're not supposed to get caught, but I was definitely one of them. There are cases that, like, maybe I should have been in jail for, but a good, and that's why I didn't follow the streets, because I was like, the real guys that I know that are criminals, they haven't got a lot of sentences. They ain't got a lot of cases, but if you actually know what they've done in life, you're like, oh, damn. But their main cause in life was not to follow a crowd of, I want to be a gang. Those are the ones that you find that where they was really, really beaten up by their fathers for their whole life. And that's all they really, really know. And then anyone in their circle after that is just following their pain. Because they're going home to PlayStation, they're going home to GTA. This kid is never going home to that. So when he's coming and he's robbing for it, there's a reason, because there's actually no option. Even his parents are applying for funding and they're not getting the government funding to help them, to even help them get the stuff like internet that we take for granted. Having internet outside your house. I've seen my youngers many a times outside Tesco's trying to get free internet at 4 o'clock in the morning. And I'm like, you're out here trying to get internet at 4 o'clock in the morning. You're a target. If I drive by in my car, when I was young, when I was in a car, that's what I was looking for, targets. Like, you are here at 4 o'clock in the morning, no one's here. It's just me and my boys, 4 of us in this car. You're going to get it. And that was just the mentality. And unfortunately, that mentality is out there now. And what I do with Bikestormz, a lot of people, and what you do, George, a lot of people see us on Instagram, but what we post on Instagram is only a highlight of a situation. It's not the situation. So we can't come on Instagram and say, this kid's got people shooting at his house right now.
Yeah.
All we can do is come on Instagram and say, guys, support the young people, do it for a reason. We can't, if we really, George, if me and you really told the world our stories and the things that we deal with, they wouldn't believe it. Yeah, but we can't, because my job and your job is not to tell it to the world to get followers, it's to actually deal with the situation. But
And I think this is one. So I was going to say, I think this is one of the problems, and it kind of comes back to what you were just saying as well, which is that people that get involved in crime, get involved in negative behaviour. For everyone that I've worked with and that I've known that's been like that, there's been a reason behind it. There's been a cause, and that's what people aren't aware of, and that's what people don't see. And I think people have got to start recognising that rather than looking at the consequence, which is the negative behaviour they might display, you need to look at the cause for that negative behaviour. Otherwise, you're not gonna prevent that consequence from coming into play. It's very easy to say, right, the behaviour is bad, so we're going to lock you up. But have you fixed the situation? Have you dealt with the situation in any way? No, you haven't. You've just put it on pause for a little bit, or you've done even worse. You've sent them to somewhere where they can learn more about crime. They can meet more criminal role models, and then we expect them to come out and suddenly everything's okay and they're going to be behaving themselves properly.
Definitely not. It's not going to work like that. So yeah, man, like that's why, George, I always, like I say, I commend what you're doing, because people just see the surface. Like what you do when you post something on the gram, the amount of likes you get doesn't amount to what you've actually done. And that's what people forget. Just because it's not getting thousands of likes, what you've done is worth. It's not. It can't be priced. It can't be liked with. It can't be judged with the amount of likes. And yeah, man, I don't know, George, man. I just wish more people was out there doing it from the heart. And George, you're one of them people. That's why I'm on this live. Anyone can tell you, you know, I don't like doing lives with everyone, but you're definitely a real one, George. And that's why it's good that Carney was able to get Stormzy down there, and some light could be shed on you lot, because you lot have been putting in work for so many years, bro. So many years. So yeah.
Thank you. Appreciate it. Right, but going back to you. So
sorry.
That's cool. So yeah, I'm just wondering, education and school wise, how was that for you?
Terrible, man. Terrible. Like, my school didn't cater for me. So I've always been a very intelligent child, but my intelligence messed me up because it wasn't guided. When I knew things, I had no guidance with what I knew. So everything was just jumbled. So Mom, I love you, so forgive me for saying this, but when I was growing up, my mum was a single parent mum. She was young. She was living her own life, going through her own things. And that meant she had boyfriends. Me being her only son at the time, I didn't like that. So I was protective, and your parents are parents. What goes on in the house in the nighttime goes on in the house in the nighttime. As a son hearing certain things, it really made me angry. So I wasn't going to go and beat up my mum or beat up the guy. But the anger that was in me, it's like, naturally, if you ask Mac, does he want to go and punch someone in the face on a normal day? No. But after the night that I had last night at home, yes, I do. I want to punch him very hard. That's what I want to do. So out of the two bad boys, you got bad boys, and then you got people where you don't know why the outburst is happening. But from an outsider looking in, I'm just judged as a bad boy. Whereas if someone from my school actually asked me, not that I was going to tell them that, but no one cared to ask me, how is home life really? They just thought, because I was smiling all the time, because I was always joking, that everything was always okay at home. I was like, I wasn't the guy to tell my family business, so my smile is my disguise. Yeah. But I'm going through more problems than Jordan. I promise you I am. But Jordan's going to come and tell you certain things, like he's not happy because of certain things, but it's not nothing to make him angry. It's just things that can be fixed. With my situation, this is my family business. As a black person, George, like black families are very secretive about their family business and that. So you can't just go to school and start blabbing out my mum, my mum, my mum. Like, so there was a lot of frustration that came from being in school, and because of that, when I used to be in English or maths, I used to be able to concentrate if they had my attention, but it was really hard to keep my eyes would look at you, but my mind would be thinking about, I want to hurt the guy from last night in my house, or I wonder if my mum's okay, or sometimes, George, it was things like, these guys, they've got muscles, they're big. My mum don't know them like that. Suppose one of them beat her up. Like, as a young kid, you go to school with worries about your mum. You love your mum. You care about her. So I know through what I've been doing with Bikestormz, I've met a lot of young people that are struggling with stepdads. And it messes up their whole day. We have to go home. People wouldn't imagine how much these things mess up someone's whole pattern and can ruin their whole path. The things that I did out of reaction to what I was going through at home, any one of them at any time could have put me in jail. And the police wouldn't have cared about what I felt and what I was going through. They would have just said, you done wrong, go to jail. So,
Yep,
yeah,
so they would have dealt with the consequence, but not with the cause.
Exactly. So in school, I was known in school. I was popular. I wasn't the most popular, but I couldn't be bullied. But I went through situations where I had to run at times. I had to fight at times. And yeah, man, I went through it. I would say anyone in my generation that lived similar to how I live, if you're here today, you're lucky to be alive, because we've lost thousands to just normal road life. We've just lost thousands to less than a gun. We're happy. I'm lucky to be here because there's been people rushed, stabbed, shot, killed, kidnapped, disappeared, don't know where they've gone, drugs. I'm lucky to be alive. And if I am here, George, to be alive with my full faculties about me, I want to talk about the hood. I don't want to put the hood down and say, don't do this. I want to get to the root of it. I want to get to my people my age that are still in the hood. I want to know why you still do it. Like, is it that you feel that there's no hope left? And if that's the case, then let's try and give those people hope so that they can give our kids hope again.
Yeah, no, exactly. Try and get them to inspire them so that they can inspire others.
Yeah,
and I think when you're talking about losing people to the roads as well, I think I'll be right in saying not just people losing their life, but losing them to substance misuse, to mental health issues, to loads of other different issues. It's not as cut and dry as it's just whether you're going to survive or you're going to die. You might survive, but really you're not living that same life anymore.
Do you know, through all the things that I've seen in my head, one day, I don't know how it might take a toll on me. You're talking to me now, we're on this live now, but everything that I've lived in my past, George, where I am now, I don't know. I could have hurt somebody 15 years ago and they come and hurt Mac. But to the world, to you, like, it's going to be like, why? They don't know my past. They don't know my history. Right now, George, I'm talking to you. I could lose my mind. It's happened to my riders. It's happened. You've seen it. Like, you've got to know every moment that it's not promised. And the way that the world will take you, it will make you think that tomorrow is coming for you. And we've had Cadet. We've had Jack the Ripper. We've had shock deaths, which should really wake people up, whether you're a gangster, whether you're not, and say, what does my tomorrow hold for me? And just like Stormzy was saying when you was interviewing him, it's like, this is all talk. This is all me talking of years of experience. But the start of it is important, and it's how do you start? How do you tell that kid that's going through that start? Like, just change your life. Just change the people you're walking around. You can't. So we need people like they need pods, Carneys, Bikestormz, rappers, studios. They need pods that are around that are just like a phone box. As much as I can see a phone box, there should be youth clubs on every corner, but we're all unified. Like, Carney shouldn't have to be dealing with youth. So everyone should be unified when it comes to the children. There shouldn't be no competition. And yeah, I'm digressing a lot, so you're gonna have to bring it back, George. So
no, that's cool, because I think you're making a good point. You're saying about there should be pods on every corner. There should be places for young people to go to. And I think what we find is difficult is like a lot of society wants programs set up for young people to work with young people at a time that society decides they need to be supported. But actually what we need is people who can support them when they feel they need to be supported. If I've got a young person that's causing up problems and I'm trying to turn him around and putting loads and loads of effort into that, I need to be doing that at a point where he wants to make change. And it's a process. It's not just a simple thing of someone, like a switch flicks and then suddenly it's, okay, I want to change my life now. It's a long process, which for some people it can take a few months. For some people it can take 10, 15, 20 years. But without having that consistency and being there for a consistent amount of time, always being available for support, you're not going to be able to help these guys. If you've got a project that's set up to run from January 2020 to January 2021, what are you really going to do in a year? How are you really going to change someone's life in a year? It needs to be rolling. It needs to be more long-term, more ongoing, because these short-term projects, they don't help people. If you've got a young person who's grown up around violence, abuse, mental health issues, substance misuse, worklessness, surviving off of benefits, that's taken them years and years to learn that this is what their life is about. So it's going to take years and years for them to unlearn that and to learn some of the more positive things that they can do. So I think you're spot on around saying you need things on the different corners. And when we're talking about what it takes to help people to change, what about yourself? What was it that kind of started moving you away from what you might have been doing on the roads and more into what you can do to support some of the younger generation that you're working with?
When I was young, I got a girl pregnant, and I knew that I wanted to support my child from early. Unfortunately, she lost the child, but when we thought that she was having a child, the only person she told was her grandma. So they got me a job in House of Frasers. And when I worked in House of Fraser, I saw it was in High Street, Kensington. And there's a posher lifestyle of people down there. And I saw a different type of life. And also, there's over 300 staff in the building. So like you get to meet people from different walks of life. And all the things that were talked about in the hood, when I went to work, no one seemed to care about it. Like, they still had nice cars, they still had nice things, they were still wearing the nicest clothes, but they just didn't seem to care. And I was like, do you know what? I want to live. And these people that I used to work with, normally in my crew, it would be like, why are you hanging out with them for? But I was like, bro, individually, they're amazing people. And not only that, my brethren Reginald, he will smack anybody up if they step to him. But he just don't want to do it. He's just not about that. Like, he's got nothing to prove. But if he was in a situation where he needed to save his life because a tree log fell on him, then that's where his strength is going to be needed, and he's going to use it to lift the log. But he's not going to use his brute strength. He could squeeze a man to death, bro. Literally, his strength was immense. And I'll be like, bro, look at him. He's got the road image. He wears a tracksuit, but he just does not condone or endorse the roads at all. So it was things like that, jobs and doing different things. My dad wasn't about, but when he was, I saw a different lifestyle as well. I saw different houses, ended up outside mansions. And it was just stuff that stuck in my head, man. And when I came to the hood, I remember telling the man them the stories of my life, and they'll be telling me, you're lying. And I'm like, I'm lying? Bro, it really happens. But they didn't, because they don't see it. It's like, oh, it's just a story. It's like I went to another world or something, George. Literally. So, but I've got enough respect to it. My friends used to listen to me and say, cool. So what I used to do was, when I used to see my friends, there's always that different one that wants to see what I'm talking about. So I say to him, bro, don't watch that. See tomorrow, link me. Yeah, and I take him down to some next place where there's people are looking at you, yeah, because you're different, but it's not the same energy. We don't have to run. We don't have to do nothing. There's so much going on in the world, bro. Like, people that love drawing art. You go into different places in the world and you see art. You're like, bro, this is where your value is. But you will never know your value sitting in the hood. And this is the thing. Like, when people talk like me, people say, oh, you're leaving the hood and you're selling the hood out. It's like, no, bro. I want to experience the world. I can't help where I was born, But there was a world, and nobody in this world should restrict anybody from going out and seeing. If you want to always come back and remember your area where you come from, you do that. You never forget your roots, and you never put down the people that come from where you come from. You never act like you're better than them. But it is everybody's entitlement to explore life, and that's what I think that's massive.
Yeah. I think that's massive, and I think it is. It's broadening people's horizons. People have got to be aware of what, whilst we're living in a big wide world and we get access to the news and the TV and that showing everything that's going on, really all of us live in a little bubble. And we see that we see that with the young people that we're working with, but we also see it like where we're based at in Battersea. We've got a couple of housing estates on one side, and then we've got some like multi-million-pound houses on the other side. And some of the guys that live in the multi-million-pound houses, they'll come along and they'll be like, we don't even know why Carney's is down here. We don't have no problems down here. Whereas we said, well, hold on, there's been 4 stabbings in the last 3 weeks. What do you mean there's no problems there? But because they're not from that world, they don't see that. And it's exactly the same the other way around. If you're not opening people's eyes up and letting them see what opportunities are out there and what the real world is like, then you're not really helping them. So I think, I can completely see why that's one of the things that's kind of instigated you to make changes.
Yeah, and that's what I'm saying is that you know me, George. I used to moan a lot about it, but I'm also active. But I do moan a lot about it. When I moan, bro, I'm never jealous of anybody's money. I'm never jealous. My main thing is always ultimate change. So when I tell a rapper to inspire a younger child, it's not that I'm telling you to give him money. I'm like, bro, they're gonna listen to you. So when rappers make it past their £100,000 and they've got houses out of the area, I think it's their responsibility to bring 10 kids and do a video outside their new area, and then introduce the kids to the different areas nicely. Like, don't just show it to us on our gram, because that makes it hard for you to come back into our area and say that you're from the hood, because you're not paying it forward. Now, we don't want to live in your house, we don't want to do that, but at least give a child 5 minutes outside the area. Let him drive past your house and see where you want to move to, because a lot of them do videos when they've really made a success, but they come right back to the hood to do it. And they make the kids feel like it's an important role in the videos to stand there, but it's not. It's really not. And when they go home in their cars, I've been to thousands of video shoots, George, where they put up in their big cars, all the kids are standing out there in the cold, waiting just to get on camera for 5 minutes. And the kids have been standing in the cold for like 5 hours just to get 30 seconds of a clip. And they pull up, and I'm like, do you know what? That's why to any rapper that I've done work with out there, that when we've pulled up, you've got out of your car, you've come out of your makeup dressing room, and you've chilled with the kids. Thank you from the bottom of my heart. You've made my kids feel more than what the society makes them feel like. You made them feel like they're worth something. And that's what it's about in my eyes, George. Just inspiring. The rappers can go and do what they do. I've always told you, George, you know, when we talk, it's just a balance. Just show me a balance. Like, if you say that guns sell and talking about guns sell, then do that, because they do that in movies. Will Smith can make a Bad Boys movie and shoot guns for the whole 2 hours, but the reason why he still gets loved from parents and everyone is because that's not his narrative when he's other cameras in his face. Exactly. He's not posing that. He's not waving his Rolex in someone's face. Will Smith can buy any Rolex that any rapper in the world can buy. Will Smith can buy it twice, and he doesn't do that. Will Smith is, and then what they do, they take his cool side off of him. Like, when he's not road, he don't come from the roads. You don't know what Will Smith came from. Will Smith came from an era where walking down the streets, there was still racism. He still had to go through that, but it's what, and that's what Stormzy said. You can't, and what you're saying, you can't change them until they're willing to be changed. But what we do, me, you, George, everyone, James, Charlotte, we keep every day, you inspire that change until it sticks. Every day you tell them you can change until it sticks. It, like you said, take 3 months, 2 years, but you have to keep going, and it's a process. And if you're doing it just for Instagram, you're not going to see the results you need. You're not. George, you're seeing the results that you've got. You've got people coming back to you, and they're in their 20s. I see that with my eyes. I've got kids that I met at 15 that are now coming to me at 20. I see that with my eyes. You can genuinely put your hand down and vouch for change, and they come to your place and they tell you, yeah, George is the guy. And now to every one person you change that you put on your Instagram and say they do an Instagram video for you, that person, they don't understand. He's going out and he talks to 200 more people. It's a knock-on
Exactly.
effect. It's a super
We
knock-on effect, and it came from the root. So, yeah, man.
we call it the virtuous cycle. So we say to people, look, you might not have to pay to come and get involved in the boxing. You might not have to pay to get involved in the fit and fed or get involved in the mentoring, but it's not free. We want something in return, and what we want in return is when you've sorted yourself out, we want you to support someone else and help someone else come back up through it. And you find generally if you're real, that's what you do. If you're not real and you're not really about that life and you're just coming in pretending, then you take what you can and you run. But the real people, they come in, they see they've benefited from support and they want to put that back into other people.
Yeah.
You see that 100%. So how did it turn? So you said what kind of inspired you and what started moving you in the right direction? What was it that made you go over to push bikes and supporting young people through bikes?
So I've always loved bikes my whole life, but there was a surge about 6 years ago where bike life on dirt bikes and motorbikes were really trending, and I loved it. I loved it with my heart, man. There was a unity, there was a community there that was growing. There was one more wavy, as you know, one of my friends. He brought me around the new era bike life, where it's dirt bikes and wheelies and that. And from time I saw it, I loved it. The only thing that I saw was that young children, because of the riding style that we do, it's not legal. Right? So the young children, I saw them catching cases from these things. So I was just like, what can we do? And I realized we got a lot of kids on bikes here. And then I started doing these video edits for the motorbike riders. Just putting sound effects behind like 15-second clips when it was 15 seconds. And then I did the same thing for like riders. And Jake 100 was one of the first riders that I edited. And when I saw his skills on a bike, it blew my mind, brother. I was like, this is a talent. Why is no one not like trying to take this and make the kids, because they love it. If you want kids, there's no point in 20 adults sitting in a room trying to work out what kids love. Look at what they're doing and try and bring what they love together. So I saw a lot of them riding every Sunday, and I was like, I started thinking in my head, imagine riding 50 kids up through Oxford Street with a positive message, but they're all doing wheelies. One thing I knew was that I could get the eyes, because back then doing a wheelie, everyone was still fascinated by it. I'm not saying it was rated or respected, but they were still fascinated. Whether they were going to shout, idiot, why are you doing that? Or they shouted, cool. It brought awareness. People were fascinated by it. So I was like, I want to get as much young people together as we can, riding and through the city, but with a cause. But I also want to make history. I don't want no fighting. I don't want no stabbing. And I want it to be kids from all areas, from all postcodes. Because I genuinely believe that I could show the government that the kids can come together with a plan, with a cause, with a unity, something that brings them together, something that they all have in common. And one thing that I knew that we all had in common was that not the drug smoking, because people smoke different drugs. So some people smoke weed, some people smoke crack. So we can't bring people together through drugs. But music, people listen to different music. But bicycles, we can bring many people together through bikes, because riding's riding. Doesn't matter if you're a doctor or a nurse, doctors ride to work, gangsters ride to work, everyone rides to work. Dancers, boxers, a bike is a bike. So it's like, if we can come together and make it that we don't fight, we don't argue for one day. So what we did have in common was everyone's lost somebody. In whether it's to knife crime, gun crime, drugs, mental health, or just cancer, sickness, you've lost somebody. And for that one person that you've lost, I want you to use that as your deal with me, your contract, to say, for that person that I say that I love so much, I can come out for one day no matter what and not fight. And that's what the contract was. It was like, I'm putting it on my granddad that I will not. go out there and cause trouble. I'm saying for my friends that I've lost to knife crime, that for one day, as bad as I want to be for 342 days of the year, the other one day, I'm not fighting. And then the reason why I got the kids to think about it deeply was that I was saying, even gangsters back in the day, you'd see them meet the first day before they walk. It wasn't just straight walk. So I was like, they can be amongst each other at some point. With Mark Duggan, that inspired it as well, because I was like, people are running past each other with small discrepancies with each other, but over the sake of a TV and trainers, they're going to drop that beef for a minute.
Yeah.
So I was like, if we can come together for that, we can come together for the ones that we lost, and for moments that touched us, like the Mark Duggan, like the George Floyd, the Sandra Bland's, we can make a stance. So eventually, it might take 5, 6, 10 years. I might not be alive when it happens, but we can build our own youth-created bank holiday, where the youth is for the youth. So everything that goes on that day, it doesn't have to be Bikestormz. It's Bikestormz. It's a boxing marathon. It's the running marathon. It's everything on a youth bank holiday. The youth don't have a bank holiday. They give them half term, and then tell them to support bank holidays of the past that we don't know, people that we don't know, and the kids do not care about. So it's like, give them something. Let the kids feel like they're part of this plan, of this world that they're living in. Feel part of the plan, and you can feel part of the plan if on your day, it's your day. Everything for a kid that, if you're below 20, everything in the shop goes down to half price for you guys. Come with your ID. It's your day. Until you start making the kids feel like a unit.
Right, Max frozen a bit just as he was getting into it as well. Hopefully he'll be back with us soon. Come back to us, Matt. Come on. Come back to us. I don't know if people are aware of what this is, but essentially Bikestormz is an event that Mac has set up where you get literally thousands of young people riding around London. Mac will create a route for them to go to, and they ride around London, wheeling, doing tricks. You'll see all types of different people down there. So the last one I went to was the one that Stormzy was at. You had people riding around on penny farthings, people riding around on tandems. You had the police out as well. No problems, no trouble, just as Max says, just unity, just people there doing positive stuff, riding around on their bikes and doing positive things. And this is one of the big things that I found inspirational, and this is one of the reasons why we started up our bike workshop down at Carney's, because we saw how it was possible to get literally thousands of young people coming from all different areas with all different backgrounds, some coming from backgrounds where they're struggling, some coming from backgrounds where they've had a really nice upbringing, but just kind of uniting together and engaging well in everything that they're trying to do. And we just thought it was a really good sort of demonstration of young people doing positive things. And we've now been inspired to set up a bike social enterprise where we teach young people how to fix up bikes and then employ them to fix up other people's bikes as well. And it's, as I say, inspired by Mac and inspired by Bikestormz. I'm going to see if I can get hold of Mac and see if I can find out what the problem is. I've got right, I know what the problem is. Mac will be joining us again soon. His phone's overheated. That's the energy that Mac brings with him. But I think he's back joining us again now.
Guys,
overheated,
I'm so sorry about
You're
that,
overheated.
iPhone, sort it out, please. But yeah, man. Sorry about that, guys. But
that's cool. So yeah, just whilst we were waiting for you to come back and join us again, I was just explaining to people what Bikestormz is. You can probably explain it a lot better than me. And like for me, the thing with, so obviously my background's more with the boxing, and I've helped organise events where we've had like 300-400 people come into a boxing show, and that's mad stressful. But you're organising an event where you got 4,000, 5,000, 6,000 people coming and cycling all the way around London. So that must be, I can't even imagine what a headache that is. But yeah, can you give us a bit of a breakdown on what Bikestormz actually is and what it takes for you to organise it as well?
So Bikestormz is basically an event that was put together by myself and Jake 100 and Trappy in the beginning. Trappy's one of our riders. But me and Jake really stuck to it in the beginning with a lot of support from the community. Me and Jake were like the front men, but it was the whole support of our community from where we ride in North London that really stuck out. And then not only North London, the riders from South London, all of us really came together on the first one and really made it family orientated. And that's what really kicked off the family orientation of it. I had a major part to play with it, but I'm only one person and everyone had to sign the deal to say, yeah, we're going to do this day. So there's a lot of bike riders that was on their motorbikes that came out and put down their bikes and their motorbike engines and started pedaling, which was amazing for me. And it's amazing for the young people to see because all the young riders were inspired by the motorbike riders. So that was good. So Bikestormz, when it started, we brought out 400. The numbers say it goes from 400 to 600. I say 5, but that was the first numbers. The first one, I was terrified. I didn't know what was going to happen. All I knew is that my heart and my intentions were right. But at the end of the day, I've got 500 kids there, and I don't know them, every single one of them. I only know about 60 of them at that time. Like to say hi to, I know your name, but the rest of them was just all off my Instagram. I've never met you before, so I don't know if I can trust you, but I walked with your energy. I spoke to them confidently, but with a lot of respect. I respected people. I spoke to young people like I gave them respect to the adults, and if they was to lose respect from me, that was down to them for whatever they was doing for me to take it away. But I entered with a high level of respect, and that happened. And then after that, it was a contract. I said to them, if we don't have no problems amongst us, I'll do another Bikestormz. There was no problems, and we did another Bikestormz. By Bikestormz 2, we increased the numbers, and so in the beginning, I asked for police help, but they didn't see the vision, so I never really got it. Long story short, they was asking for stewards and that, and I just couldn't work out why. If we got the same common goal of Nice Down, at that time it was just Nice Down. Stop camera. It wasn't Nice Down bikes up. It was just a common goal of we need these kids to stop killing each other. I can't understand why I got to pay for this to make this happen for you to help me.
Yeah.
So I went against the police word. I don't advise you lot to go against the police all the time, but sometimes if it's from your heart, think about what you're doing. If it's right, then think. If it's not going to hurt nobody, then think. So I brought out the kids. We came out. We stood together. The police came. They never saw not one knife, not one fight. There was incidents between riders and public, but this was New George. And for what I saw, how I measured it up was that to what could have happened, to what happened was good. So rounding it out at 10.
The positives outweighed the negatives.
Yeah, definitely. So they were going to get another one from me, and we kept going. Going on down to Bikestormz 3, the police wanted to get involved. We started to build a relationship till, long story short, they started to get more involved till they actually endorsed it with us. Now, when we was doing that, we got to numbers of like 4,000, 5,000. It started to get serious. The responsibility on my side was very, very stressful, very pressurizing in terms of every child that comes out. I take full responsibility for, and I've also been willing to walk to jail if anything happened where I felt I was warranted walking to jail. These things take full responsibility, so people see the glamorous side of it and the followers rising and that, but they don't really understand the sacrifice that I actually walk out of my house and take when I do it. Every Bikestormz I sign a form by the police. They're like, anything goes down untoward, you're liable to go to jail. There can be an automatic inquisition on your name. So, yeah, there's a risk, but you know what, George? I'll die for these kids, and that's where it is. So I always take the risk, and the kids are worth it. Every year. You can come to our family, you can go through it. You can look through the history. You can see when we've had fallouts. You can see when we've made up. And what I think is that it's been real, and we've been a great example of how if people take our formula and put it into their own communities, that it can work. And that's it. And that's what I think, like people say, boxing does that. Sports is a great tool for that. And it's not just about Bikestormz. Like I say, Bikestormz was to show people overall that a large number of kids can come together. And then once we do that, we set a youth day where boxing's going off, and it's what the kid decides to do. Not every kid wants to ride a bike. So it's what they decide to do. But we have major days where it's major boxing fests, where you get the boxers coming down, Andy Joshua coming down, and kids are able to get in the ring with him and just punch him in the arm once. It's so much to them, bro.
Yeah.
So much. And that
exactly.
carries 25 years on. If I punched Lennox 25 years ago, I'll be telling you that I did that now. It carries. And these are the things that change and keep. It's the small inspirational steps that are going to do it. Like Stormzy said, you can't just expect a kid that you tell him to change. It's like, once you step, it's like, what do I do? You're nervous. People have left me on a computer, George. I'm not really great with computers. People have sat with me and said, yeah, you click here, you click there, you go there and Bob's your uncle. Bro, as soon as they've left the room, I've gone, grrr. What button did he say to press? Like, how do I start this? And then I get shy. If I feel like I'm gonna get teased to ask, do you do that again? I'm not gonna know. I'm gonna act like I know, but I don't know. And that's what these it's like. With Bikestormz, we try and build a safe haven where you can come and be yourself. Where you can come and say, I don't understand. Where you can come and say, I'm fat, I'm small, I'm black, I'm white, I'm this, I'm that. And you are not judged. All that you're judged by is your riding. Like, and
it's okay to be vulnerable. It's okay to be vulnerable for them.
It's okay to be vulnerable, and that is very important. It's so okay to be vulnerable, but I get why kids are not, because I'm just me, but if influential young people's page out there with 4 million followers says anything, then that's going to make the kids say, whoa, whoa, whoa. There's 4 million people seeing that, but there's only 40,000 people seeing that. Like, no, Mike, I see you, but I'm scared to step out. So every day, George, mine and your fight is getting those people to put their foot in the water and test the water for themselves. And it's very hard to get these kids to put their foot in their water when you've got everything that's going on around us. But they're doing it, and you've got kids to put their foot in the water. You've made them swim, and they've come back 5-10 years later to Carney's and said, George is the guy, this is what happens, this is what Carney's does, all the staff in Carney's. Rory that you got working there for you, that helps with the bike stuff. Comes in, like, we're in the hook, we stay here, we do what we're doing, and we love when other rappers, because we know that they're influential, when they can come in and do what Stormzy done, it's amazing. And
has a massive impact.
Doesn't take any credit away from them at all.
So you spoke about Bikestormz, but the other stuff I'm interested in is because you've helped quite a lot of young people with earning a living out of doing the bike riding as well. Like, can you say how you've managed to do that?
Work, George. Like, I always say this, anything is possible. Everywhere that you want to go, if you want to work with Adidas, if you want to work with Nike, if you want to work with a music company, everybody's got a building. Everybody goes to a coffee shop. Everybody, I mean, I've sat outside Chelsea Football Club to just try and find someone. Like, when I want something for my kids, there's no limit that I'm going to go and find it. If I've got to find Andy Joshua's house, then I'm going to find it. But the main thing that I stepped out and said is that anything that I do like that, I can't beg for myself. I still got that pride for myself. Like, I couldn't ask you to lend me £10, but I could ask you to give me £1,000 for the kids. Easy. Yeah. Because I know what I'm on. But for me, for me, it's me. I'll obtain it. But yeah, man, it's just that, man.
because you act, for quite a few of them, you kind of act like an agent for them, like helping them get bookings, getting sponsorship deals, all that sort of stuff.
Yeah, so but for Bikestormz, the kids will be seen. I get their kids to keep their pages clean. If you want to be known by sponsors and stuff, keep your pages clean. As less swearing as you can, as less copyright music on your page as you can. And while you're looking for sponsors, try and keep us as blank canvas as you can. So do videos in plain white t-shirts, plain black t-shirts, because if you see if Nike's a company and they're looking to sponsor you, if they see you with Adidas and you're getting 1,000 likes already, they might assume that you're sponsored with Adidas, and it's not company normal practice to step on people's toes like that.
Yeah.
So keep yourself as a blank canvas. Jake is with Bike, he's with Nike, but if you want to be like Jake, you're gonna get recognized. But stay a blank canvas, and your options are more open. Your options are more open. About changing your life and that, it's like, George, I go out there and I talk, I network. Young people, they're going, well.
Right, Max frozen. Hopefully the phone's not overheated again. We'll see if we get him back in a minute. But yeah, what Max talking, and as I said, acts like a bit of an agent for. So he's done that sponsored by, he's helped people get sponsored by Nike, Nando's, all sorts, and helps them with setting up their YouTube videos, helps them with everything really, and acts essentially as an agent for them to support them. So has helped change loads and loads of different people's lives. He's had a massive impact on so many different people, and now some of them people are starting to have an impact on other young people. So again, it's that virtuous cycle thing. It's the pyramid that we try and create through how Mick Carney influenced Mark Reigate and myself, and then also how we're then impacting everyone else as well. And this is what Mac's doing. He's trying to impact young people, who are going to impact more young people, who are going to impact more young people, who are going to impact more young people. He's just been, a really good character to sort of have around and to support us. I've seen that we've got James Point Shoot Think, who's on the chat now as well. James is actually the first person that introduced us. He told me about Mac, and then it was so odd. I was in the office in Battersea, and I saw Mac put a post up, and it was I can't remember exactly what it was, but it was talking about if you're a real friend to your friends, it's not about telling them pick up the gun. It's about supporting them. It's when they're in prison, it's going down there and seeing them, seeing how they're doing. When they're in a situation where no one else wants to help them, that's when it's about supporting them. And I just really liked what he was saying. So I thought, let me repost that. I reposted it, and literally 2 minutes later, doorbell rings, and Mac's there at the door with James. I'm like, "Rah, this is nuts! This is meant to be." Mac hadn't seen that I'd reposted it. It just happened at that time, and it was just that was the start of where we were connected, and then people have seen how much bike stuff we're doing now, and that's all been inspired by Mac. And forever grateful to Mac and also to James for introducing us. I think we've got Max just messaged saying his phone's overheated again, and I think we've only got a couple of minutes left on the interview, so we're probably going to end it in a second. But I will encourage anyone who can to get involved with Bikestormz when it's back up and running again. I know the lockdowns had a big impact on Bikestormz, but it's also, I think, led to a lot of people getting out there on their bikes a lot more often than they would have done in the past. So I'm hoping that actually Bikestormz is going to grow massively. I've got James who's just sent a request to join the video. I'm just going to add him onto it, because as I said, James was the person who first introduced Mac to me, and James is doing some unbelievable stuff as well himself. How you doing, James? You all right?
Welcome from New York. The chaos.
Going in New York. Are you still wounded?
Wounded.
Oh, bloody hell, cool.
And a lovely, I feel like a boxer. I should have been in the ring. I just wanted to, George, I mean, incredible the piece for you and Mac, and then the other day as well. I mean, it's pretty powerful what you guys do and the community that you guys help. It's like sometimes it goes missing, but, you know, I think with the kids, just like you said, when they all come together and one leads to another, that's, that's the voice of tomorrow. And they're the ones that will make change within the community, because the good stuff that you put into each, the good values that you guys put into each and every one of them, whether it comes from life skills to food, to being able to communicate with each other in a safe environment so they don't feel embarrassed, ashamed, weak. It's incredible what you guys use. And, no matter where I am in the world, I always say, it's like, you got to watch these guys, Carney's, and the other great one is Homeboy Industries, because you guys do incredible work on the ground, and it's not just through a book. It's like you guys are out there on a day-to-day basis dealing with these people and these kids that don't have opportunities like a lot of other people do. So hats off to you, Mac, and to Father Greg over there in Homeboy Industries.
Brilliant, thanks, James. And we're going to have to get you on one of these Carney's conversations soon as well. I'll give you a shout after the call, and we'll see what we can get sorted out.
No worries, anytime, George. Great to see you. I hope everyone's well in the family. And
no, we're all good. We're all good.
All right, George. Well,
good to see you, James. And thank you very much, Mac, for your involvement. Thank you for the introduction between us as well, James, because you instigated all of that.
There you go. One love. All right, Mac. All right, George. I'll speak to you soon.
That's brilliant. Cheers, James. Speak soon.
Take care.
Right, thank you very much, everyone. I think we're about to get cut off because we've done our full hour. So, it's coming to the